as a nation. From the thundering hoofs of the great wild beast migration to the serene forests that protect our water, to the vibrant cultural landscapes that welcome millions of visitors each year, our environment is more than a backdrop to our national story. It is the lifeblood of our economy, our identity, and our future. But today, these natural treasures face mounting pressures from climate change, expanding development, and rising human-wildlife conflicts. The balance between progress and preservation has never been more important or more fragile as Kenya celebrates tourism, wildlife, and Maize Week as part of the Jamhuri Day 2025 festivities. The nation comes together to shine as a spotlight on conservation, tourism, and sustainable growth, three pillars that will determine the destiny of our land and our people. This is the story of Kenya's natural heritage, the challenges we face, the heroes who protect it, and the shared journey toward a greener, safer, more prosperous future. And this is JKS Thursdays, and we're diving into conservation, tourism, and sustainable growth tonight. Welcome to EBN TV. Our social media platforms always remain EBN TV all across, and our SMS line being 23059. My name is Jeffrey Kimaiyu Somba. Welcome on board as I share you a feature and a special feature on conservation, tourism, and sustainable growth. As Kenya celebrates Jamhuri Day 2025, we reflect on the treasures that define us, our people, our natural heritage, and our freedom. This year's theme, conservation, tourism, and sustainable growth, reminds us that preserving our environment is not just an environmental choice, it is a national duty, an economic lifeline, and a promise to future generations. And moving to section 1, which is conservation, the heartbeat of our nation, and Kenya's conservation journey as defined its global identity, our national parks community conservancies protect one of the most diverse wildlife populations on Earth. But today, new challenges, climate change, human encroachment, and habitat fragmentation are altering wildlife behavior and reshaping the ecosystems that sustain us. And moving to wild beast migration, a natural wonder under pressure, and the Great Wild Beast Migration, the world's most famous journey of more than 1 million wild beasts, zebras and gazelles, is the crown jewel of Kenya's tourism. But this extraordinary event is changing. Extended droughts, delayed rains, shrinking grasslands, and altered river flows have disrupted the once predictable migration cycle. Some herds cross the Mara too early, others too late. Many stall in drought-stricken plains, others take new, more dangerous routes. New supportive structures to protect the migration across Kenya and Tanzania. Governments and conservation partners are implementing innovative tools to safeguard migration corridors, GPS tracking, and satellite monitoring to map herd movements, land use zoning that restricts construction within known migration paths, buffer zones, and wildlife-friendly infrastructure fencing strategies that protect communities while keeping essential routes open, as seen around Nairobi National Park, where the southern boundary remains unfenced to allow traditional wildebeest and zebra movements. Controversies around new developments, yet the issue remains complex, and recent public concern emerged out of viral footage suggested migrating wildebeest hesitating near a newly built structure in the Masai Mara. And while authorities insist that approved developments follow environmental guidelines and do not block migration corridors, conservationists argue that constant oversight is crucial, as even small disturbances can alter wildlife movement in the long term. And the threat of poisoning another alarming trend is wildlife poisoning, often arising from escalating human-wildlife conflict. Just weeks ago, multiple lions in the Masai Mara's Olesekud Conservancy were found suffering from suspected poisoning, a stark reminder of how fragile Kenyan wildlife is. Though veterinarians saved the animals, the incident sent a chilling message. If conflict and poisoning continue, the ecosystem that supports the migration and Kenya's tourism industry is at risk. And habitat loss from expanding settlements and agriculture, human-wildlife conflict, especially in drought seasons, rising poaching and bushman trade, declining biodiversity, disturbed breeding patterns among key species, and unpredictable wildlife presence, reduced tourist numbers when spectacles like the migration shift, economic strain on lodges, guides, communities, and allied businesses, damage to Kenya's global tourism reputation, pressure on parks and conservancies to diversify offerings, and tourism and wildlife are intertwined. When one suffers, the other follows. And we're moving to heroes of conservation from then and now, and we're looking at Kenya's environmental leadership is built on the shoulders of visionaries, individuals whose courage and innovation shaped our conservation legacy. And one is Dr. Wangari Maathai, founder of the Green Belt Movement, Nobel Peace Prize laureate. She empowered communities to protect forests, watersheds, and ecosystems through tree planting and civic action. We'll bring the second one with Richard Aliki, renowned paleoanthropologist and former KWS director. He led historic and poaching campaigns, strengthened wildlife laws, and spearheaded the iconic ivory bands. And we're moving on to Paula Kahumbu, the CEO of Wildlife Direct and passionate wildlife advocate. Her Hands Off Our Elephants campaign helped educate the public and pressure policymakers to strengthen wildlife protection. We're moving on to the third one, who is Dr. Daphne Sheldrick, founder of the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. She pioneered methods for raising orphaned elephants, saving countless animals, and preserving elephant populations. Community conservancy leaders from Samburu to the Mara, Borana to Turkana community leaders have established protected landscapes managed by locals, proving that conservation thrives when communities benefit. And we're moving to Tourism, Wildlife and Mice Week, a national celebration. And today, or which is tomorrow, is part of this year's Jamhuri Day celebrations. Kenya hosts the Tourism, Wildlife and Mice Week, a showcase of Kenya's leadership in conservation, cultural pride, innovation and business tourism. Key features of the week: wildlife conservation symposiums, cultural heritage exhibitions, county tourism showcases, green investment and mice business forums, youth innovation expose, and sustainable travel and climate action dialogues, and community conservancy and success stories. This week is a celebration of Kenya's past, a roadmap to a future where development and environmental stewardship work together. And we're moving into sustainable growth, the vision for tomorrow. And Kenya's future relies on sustainable growth, progress that uplifts people while protecting the ecosystems that sustain life. The path forward: adoption of green tourism standards, climate-smart conservation strategies, expansion of renewable energy, digital innovation in travel, forest and rangeland restoration, enhanced wildlife protection laws, community-centered ecotourism. Sustainability isn't just a policy, it is a promise that Kenya's natural heritage will endure for generations. And this Jamhuri Day, we honor our freedom and the responsibility that comes with it, the responsibility to protect our land, to preserve our wildlife, to grow our tourism industry and sustainably, and to build a Kenya where nature and development thrive together. And to end this is Kenya, a land of beauty, a people of resilience, a future rooted in conservation, powered by tourism and secured by unity. And at the end of this, we just need to wish you happy Jamhuri Day 2025, which is coming tomorrow. May you celebrate, and may you celebrate what belongs to us. Thank you. And coming next will be JKS Thursdays, and this is EBN Thursday edition. And my sign language interpreter is Laura Omondi, and this gets us moving. And 1.1 million learners whose results were released today will know their senior school in which they were placed by December 20th. While releasing the results, Education Cabinet Secretary Migosi Ogamba said the students will be expected to report to their new schools by January 12th, December. And the CS also announced that there will be no increase in school fees and that students will continue receiving capitation at the previous rate of 22,244 shillings per learner per year.
Of the 1,130,459 candidates who sat for the 2025 KJSEA, 59.09% have demonstrated potential to pursue the STEM pathway at senior school. 46.52% have demonstrated capacity to pursue the social science pathway, and 48.73% the arts and sports pathway. Ladies and gentlemen, the next important step is the placement and transition of learners to senior school. Learners will be placed to senior schools based on their performance and selected pathways, in line with the recommendations of the Presidential Working Party on Education Reform. The assessment of learners at grade 9 comprised 20% from the Kenya Primary School Education Assessment, 20% from the School-Based Assessment in grade 7 and 8, and 60% summative evaluation at grade 9. This summative evaluation is the KJSEA.
Trufena Modoni, a 22-year-old girl from Nyeri, now holds the world record for arguing a tree for 72 consecutive hours after completing the challenge she began on Monday at 6:25 p.m. The feat has attracted attention from environmental groups, community leaders, and activists, all praising her determination and focus in raising awareness for forest conservation. A new record is awaiting confirmation by the Guinness World Records, and if verified, Trufena will remain the only person to break her own 48-hour record within a 9-month period. Additionally, our efforts are expected to increase public awareness about the importance of tree conservation and inspire more young people to actively participate in environmental protection.
Francis Muli, ni furaha sasa tumechalejiwa na msichana wa miaka 22. Ni furaha sana, tunasema shukrani kwa huyo msichana, ameweza kuhitimu rekodi ambayo ni rekodi, itakuwa rekodi Kenya mzima na pia Afrika mzima. Tunasema kongole kwa Trufena Modoni.
The Nakuru County Tourism Association (NCTA) has reported a steady rise in tourists monthly in Nakuru amid higher projections from neighboring countries this festive season, as the country seeks to boost earnings from experiential tourism. NCTA Chairman David Mwangi says the upswing in the last 2 quarters of the year has been spurred by infrastructural development and amenities in the countries for the city. Mwangi says a considerable number of tourism has come from neighboring Uganda and parts of Central Africa to explore Lake Nakuru National Park, a renowned bird watcher's paradise, and a rhino sanctuary. He noted that such initiatives would improve the visibility of Nakuru as a tourist destination of choice on the local and global stage.
I'm the chairman of Nakuru County Tourism and Marketing Board here in Nakuru County. This is a premier destination. It's one of the best destinations you'll find in this country. Nakuru is known for its meeting capacity. We are the leading mice destination. We have 3 sub-destinations here. We have Naivasha, which is big in mice. We have enough facilities there, enough hospitality facilities that handle mice. We have Elementaita, that is around Lake Elementaita. Naivasha is around Lake Naivasha. We have Elementaita, which is around Lake Elementaita all the way. And then we have the Nakuru city. Those are the main sub-destinations of this county. People love Nakuru because you can come from 37 counties in the morning and go back in the evening. It is a wonderful place where a centrality of it makes it 160 kilometers to Nairobi, 160 kilometers to Nyeri, 160 kilometers to Eldoret, and less than 200 kilometers to Kisumu, less than 200 kilometers to Narok and other surrounding counties. We border 8 counties, and some of the counties that we border are also tourism related. For example, we border Narok County, which is a leading adventure tourism. So when people meet in Nakuru, they can easily now go to other destination for just to explore the leisure in that place. This is meetings, incentives, conferencing and events. Nakuru is leading in the number of events and meetings in the whole of this country, and we are happy that this has employed many people. We are dealing with almost 1,600 hospitality establishments. And this 1,600 establishments have employed close to 40,000 people. Right now, I am standing at the newest facility that is coming up in Nakuru. It is a top-range luxurious hotel. Investors have found it worth to come and invest billions of shillings to come and invest here in Nakuru. When you look at this facility, it's a wonderful facility. 205 rooms, 23 meeting rooms. So why is it that this investor chose Nakuru? Is because they have known Nakuru to be a key destination for meetings. We are dealing with close to 600,000 people every month who are coming to Nakuru. Let me give you an example. An example is, for example, in Naivasha here, which is part of Nakuru, we will have in one day meetings of up to more than
Kirinyaga elders has vowed to put their differences aside as they warn outsiders against micromanaging county political affairs, who they have accused of creating a discord among in the county. Elders from Kirinyaga County highlighted the three different groups have resolved to end their differences and unite as they warn outsiders against meddling with local politics trying to micromanage the Kirinyaga political path. The elders, led by the chairman Stephen Gary, says that Kirinyaga will chart its own political direction, urging outsiders to keep off from Kirinyaga affairs. And moving on, Embu County has joined 8 others in launching of energy plan as the Ministry of Energy continue pressing other devolved units to follow suit as the country projects to transition to 100% clean energy by 2030. The launch of Embu County Energy Plan 2025 to 2035 marks the completion of a 2-year multi-stakeholder planning process that sets out how the county will harness, manage and expand its energy resources. The plan that aligned Energy Act 2019, the Integrated National Energy Plan, this is INEP, and Sustainable Development Goal 7 outlines actionable strategies, investment opportunities, and clear implementation roadmap for equitable and sustainable energy development. Speaking during the official launch of the plan at the University of Embu grounds on Wednesday, Renewable Energy Deputy Director Peter Tabora challenged counties that have not completed their CEPs to expedite the process.
Kanora munene muno nitugiye kronchi nyamu gitwa the Embu County Energy Plan iriye kufata ukorwa gitutongoria for the next 10 years aperiod kuma 2025 nginya 2035 tukorwe maundu makoni nteto cia thitima muno ta solar nundu meciria metu ni kindu kia mbere tukorwe twafata go solarize kana wikira thitima cia solar thinwa market cietu kana thokore cietu thibitari cietu na government institutions. Wakaire naguo ni ati nginya thinwa takirimo kana uremire ona kuno twende tutukura tugitumira solar na tugeko uguo atia tugeko uguo through development partners. Twina energy plan ino twinio ni gututethereria kuvota kuvotethio nginya kuma kwi nthi cianja through development partners areo nginya uremi no tukore tukivura thitima na mai tukivura mai na thitima ni undu wa gwika irrigation.
Ni mubango mwega muno fiu tondu riu ni twagia na mainvestor mariukaga aria marabatara matangi ma mai mugakaheo matangi ma gwikira mai macio na mwaheo na mukahuthira wega nigetha miti iria mwahanda mukaitiriria riria mwara miti yo ikatuika ya kunyita. Undu ucio ungi ni uhoro wa kuhuthira miti. Ni tukugia na andu aria mariuka ningi matuhe uhoro wa energy saving jikos, uhoro wa kuhuthira biogas nigetha tutige gutema miti nigetha tuthie na mbere na kumenyerera maria baturigiceirie. Na ni ndiramenya mugeni oka gwaku mugeni akoragwo baraka. Kwoguo na ibuku riri turatua ni mugeni na ni egukorwo ari baraka kuri ithu andu aitwa.
And members of parliament from Kirinyaga County who support the Kenya Kwanza government are vowed to remain in the UDA party to ensure that the county continues to benefit from government development projects. The MP for Ndia and his counterpart for Kirinyaga Central, Gashoki Gitari, stated that Kirinyaga County fully supported the party in the recent elections and it would not be wise to abandon it without reaping the benefits of that support. And speaking at a UDA party mobilization rally in Kishugo, the two MPs criticized opposition attempts to infiltrate the area, insisting that such efforts would be ineffective. They also pledged to continue advocating for the party as they prepare for the 2027 general elections.
Tushakubaliana hapa kama viongozi wa Kirinyaga, sisi hatutoki kwa chama ya UDA. Tutapigania hii chama, tutajenga hii chama, tutaimarisha hii chama, tutaweka nguvu hii chama kwa sababu hii chama ndio iko na serikali na sisi hatutaki kutoka kwa serikali. Kwa sababu pale kwa upinzani hatuoni vision yoyote.
Ukiona kodoo amerudi nyuma, usikafikirie ni uoga. Anarudi nyuma, aanze na speed akuja amebomoa. Sasa UDA iko karibu kubomoa chama zote, si ndio? Na ukiona simba amenyeshewa, usikafikiria amepinduka.
Human rights activists have expressed concern over the increase in cases of harassment and threats online, noting that such incidents contribute to heightened stress and loss of confidence among victims. He is speaking in Kitengela during the launch of the new law addressing gender-based violence. Stakeholders urged the government and technology companies to implement strict policies and robust measures to protect users, especially women and girls. They further stated that while the efforts to combat female genital mutilation, FGM, and economic exploiters have been helpful, more comprehensive initiatives are needed to eliminate abuse not only online but also in households and communities.
The Kajiado County GBV Prevention and Response Policy, a landmark achievement for our county. This is a policy more than a document. It is clear framework that meets all actors involved in the GBV response.
Itasaidia kwa sababu tumeweka referral pathways ambayo inaweza tumika. Mtu akipatwa na dhuluma za kijinsia, kuna vile tumeandika kwa policy jinsi vile ataenda kuripoti. Kuna GVRC yetu pale kwa hospitali atapokelewa.
Ya kwamba wacha tutumie teknolojia kwa ile njia inayofaa. Sana sana vijana wetu ambao tunajua wao ndio wanatumia social media sana, wasitumie kwa njia ya kudhulumu wengine.
Leo tukiangazia the 16 days of activism, an end to it. Tuliona pale Suswa wazee wetu wa Kimasai walikuja na wakafanya declaration kwamba watashikana na community ku end FGM. Na pia tunataka kusema kama AMREF tutashikilia county ku make sure kwamba tuko na skills lab pale Kajiado Referral Hospital, na tutaweza ku train health workers to make sure that they are aware and they are able to manage FGM related complication kama obstetric fistula.
Kapsabet County Referral Hospital has received specialized medical equipment in its new natal unit, a move expected to significantly improve maternal health services and care for premature or critically ill newborns. The equipment includes incubators, ventilators, specialized delivery beds, and monitoring devices for mother and child health. Hospital management stated that the new tools will help reduce infant mortality and enhance the hospital's capacity to serve more patients efficiently. The provision of this equipment was funded through a partnership between the county government and health stakeholders as part of a broader strategy to strengthen maternal and child health services in rural areas.
CTG machines, 3 radiant warmers, 4 patient monitors, 4 manual delivery beds, 2 photography machines, 20 delivery packs, 10 theater gowns, and 10 theater drapes. This is just by the beginning of our collaboration with Nandi County. We hope to see more of this, where we'll be able to support as the needs may be identified.
These are equipment that are going to go a long way in ensuring that maternity services are provided in a more quality manner because of the support equipment that are needed in service delivery.
This is a response to a request that we sent out last year. Towards the end of last year, it must have been in October, November last year, we sent out a request to KDIC to consider supporting Nandi County through their CSR program. And today we are excited that this has come to a reality. We are very grateful to all the partners who have put their hand to support us in various ways, but specifically today we are very grateful to KDI.
And still moving on, veterans call upon the government to ensure timely disbursement of the Inua Jamii stipend. The Mau Mau Regional Trust Deputy Chairman Daniel Mwangi has called upon the government through the Department of Social Services to fast-track payment of 2,000 monthly welfare stipend to senior citizens aged 70 years and above. He's speaking to KNA in Narok. Mr. Mwangi said that timely payment of the stipend, which is under the Inua Jamii cash transfer program, was going to arm the elderly to cater for essential needs, particularly medication, food, among other daily necessities. And according to the chairman, prolonged delays has forced some veterans to endure unnecessary suffering, with a few losing their lives before payment of the fund is made.
Na tunaona ni kesho, na wakati tunafika nyakati hizi za kukumbuka siku ambao watu walipata uhuru, wengine wetu waliokuwa nyakati zile wanakuwaga na husuni sana, wakigojea kwamba mfalme wetu ataguzia jambo lile la malipo yao. Na hiyo jamhuri inaisha, tunaenda mwaka mwingine. Sasa tunakumbuka miaka 62 tangu watu wale waweze kupigania uhuru wa nchi hii. Kwa hivyo nikiwa mkaliaji kiti wa mdogo katika Mau Mau Regional Trust, ningeomba mtukufu wetu President William Samoei Ruto, wakati huu, wakati wa kusimama kwa uwanja na kuweza kuongea kuhusu siku ile ya uhuru, aweze kukumbuka watu wale ambao waliweza kupigania uhuru wetu wa nchi hii pamoja na uzao wao, kwa sababu tumekaa katika watu ambao hawajielewi, kwa sababu tunasubiri wazazi wetu wanasema walipigania, lakini hakuna kitu chochote kile tunajivunia. Wale ambao tunaona ni kama wanajivunia kitu ni wale wako ndani ya serikali yako, kwa sababu kukitengwa pesa kiwango hiki kama zile zilikuwa wakati wa corona, unasikia hiyo pesa imetolewa, hiyo pesa imekuliwa. Tunarudi pale, kuna toroa pesa tena za afya, tena pesa za afya tena pia tunasikia kiongo fulani tena kimeenda namna hiyo. Tunakaa tunasikia kuna jambo kama hili tena. Tunaona ile pesa president umekuwa ukitoa na kuweza kusaidia Wakenya haziviki wananchi katika machinani, zinapotelea wapi? Na sisi wewe tunasikia umewachilia na umesema kiwango hiki, umesema kiwango hiki, lakini kwetu sisi tukua wananchi katika machinani hatufaidiki na zile pesa. Tena jambo lingine mkubwa ningekuuliza ni kwamba zile pesa za uzeeni za wale wazee ambao wamefikisha miaka 70 zilikuwa zinakuja kama 2,000 hivi, si waongezea angalau kama utaongezea 1,000 zingine 2 ili waweze kujijenga na kufanya kitu nazo, kwa sababu sasa wanangojea zile pesa, na wakati zinachelewa tunasikia kwa sababu ya njaa wazee wengine waboni wakongwe wameaga dunia wamepumzika. Mimi ninakuomba kwa hiari yangu ya kwamba wamekuja ndani ofisi yangu siku ya leo ili wajue kama kuna kitu utawapea wakati wa Jamhuri Day ambao ni siku ya kesho. Na mimi sina cha kuwapatia, na kile ningewapatia ni wewe uko nacho. Sasa na wewe ndiye uko na nguvu ya kusema kila kitu katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo
that story from Inua Jamii stipends brings JK's Thursday to a short break. We're coming back. In case you're joining us now, you're watching JKS Thursdays. My name is Jeffrey Kimaiyu Somba, and this is EBN TV, and my sign language interpreter is Laura Omondi. Come with me as we move on with the news bulletins. The Ministry of Water has signed a collaboration agreement with the International Water Management Institute, this is WMI, aimed at strengthening water resource management, improving irrigation efficiency in farms, and enhancing food security security in the country. The agreement was signed by Fandas Kimoto, Secretary of the Department of Irrigation, on behalf of the government, and Abdulrahim Said, Regional Director of IWMI East Africa, supported by experts from both sides. The pact is expected to provide a foundation for research, innovate irrigation technologies, and joint water conservation programs to mitigate the effects of climate change and increase agricultural productivity in Kenya.
Between the State Department of Irrigation and IMI, and this it's more to do with taking advantage of what the two institutions have been doing. We'll be leveraging on some of the reforms that we want to implement, and so to enable us unlock the potential of NISIP. At the same time, IMI have been involved a lot in research, more to do with water management, more to do with irrigation solutions, and together we'll be seeing how we can leverage on each other.
So we are expanding on that. IMI brings evidence, for example, research-based evidence, science-based evidence, tools, experiences from across the global south and beyond, and that will be very useful actually for scaling irrigation development and innovations in most of the global south, now in East Africa and in Kenya. So we'll be very happy to support the implementation of the NISIP. And this MOU for us is really the beginning, all right? So what really matters is what we make out of it.
Then the second initiative that we are undertaking with the International Water Management Institute, we are already working on a concept note to prepare an irrigation water tariff. This has been one of key issues that we need to undertake in preparing maybe the next phase in irrigation water harvesting development. We have never had an appropriate tariff, or even a tariff that can be benchmarked or even can be used in paying.
Refugees from neighboring Somalia, particularly the Raks Kiamboni area living in Kiunga village along the Kenya-Somalia border in Lamu County, have requested the government to issue them Kenya identification cards to obtain citizenship and live with full rights. They stated that they have lived in the area for many years, with some born and raised in Kiunga, yet they still lack essential documents that would enable them to access basic services. The refugees lamented that the lack of identification prevents them from accessing education, healthcare, employment, and freedom of movement, leaving them vulnerable to marginalization and abuse. Community leaders have urged the government to expedite citizenship verification to resolve a problem that has persisted for many years. The Lamu County government and humanitarian organizations have also called for a special registration program for long-term residents in the area to ensure that their basic rights are respected and protected.
6 months ago, the president launched what we call Ushirika Plan. Ushirika Plan is an initiative that is geared towards removing those refugees from Kakuma camps, Dadaab camps, and being integrated into houses in towns, so that those guys can sit or perhaps stay in harmony, in peaceful and in integration with each other.
Kwa hivyo wale wakimbizi ambao wako hapa washamaliza miaka mingapi? Ukifanya 91 mwaka 1991 waliingia hapa Kiunga, na mpaka sasa hivi wao wamekuwa ndio wenyeji kabisa wa Kiunga. Ombi langu kubwa sana leo, hawa hawatakani waitwe tena refugees, watakana waitwe returnees, wamerudi nyumbani, na mtu kwa anarudi nyumbani anapokewa, na miongoni mwa kupokewa sababu ya kwanza tujue kwamba wao ni kitambulisho.
Kwa hivyo hiyo tutajaribu vile inawezekana, wale ambao tumekaa na wao na tumeishi na wao vizuri, hata sheria yenyewe inaruhusu. Ukiishi Kenya miaka 7 mpaka 10 na wewe ni mwananchi mzuri, umeishi na wananchi vizuri, hauna maneno, chifu anakutambua na kadhalika, mara moja wewe unafaa kuwa recognized kama mwananchi.
8 Kenya Defence Forces Navy officers will remain in custody for 10 more days as investigations continue into the disappearance of part of a drug all worth 1.2 billion shillings. Appearing before Mombasa Chief Magistrate Gladys Limo, the officers were accused of stealing and concealing a portion of crystal meth seized during a joint maritime security operation in the Indian Ocean late October. The court directed that the 8 officers be detained at the Port Police Station until December 22nd, when the case will be mentioned again before the Mombasa law courts.
At the Port Police Station, there is an office and officers working under anti-narcotics unit. I therefore suggest that a proper direction would be we see them in the presence of an officer of anti-narcotics unit, particularly the ones at the port, because to get this man at the regional headquarters and to take him to port so that you may talk to a suspect or you may send a loads to a suspect is to tell us we won't be able to police station. That's the most important person. We are not told under which provision of the law that the regional anti-narcotics in charge should be present for us to access our clients.
So basically I'm saying access, we are not objecting to access, but the same access is not unrestricted. It is restricted. Through the rules.
Kenya's youth made a decisive move today, unveiling Manifesto Yetu and the Catholic University of East Africa, a bold blueprint putting young people at the center of national county decisions. With most youth jobless or in informal work, leaders issued a clear call: register, vote, and demand accountability. They pushed for tougher policy oversight, swift action on brutality, and real leadership space for young people. The lounge drew organizers, civic educators, and national leaders, all echoing one message: Kenya's youth are not waiting. They are taking charge, as our reporter Lisa Mutinda reports.
Kenya's youth took action today by launching Manifesto Yetu at the Catholic University of East Africa. The manifesto aimed to give young people a stronger voice in national and county decision-making and honored those who gave their lives while fighting for the youth's right. With 67% of young people unemployed or working in informal jobs, youth leader urged their peers to register as voters and actively participate in changing the country's future. Kidi Mwanga, youth activists, called for action at the ballot and demanded stronger police oversight, fast action against brutality, and lower retirement age to open leadership opportunities. The launch, attended by political leaders, party representatives, and other stakeholders, featured Chege Mwaura, youth coordinator, and Murioki Ndwega, civil engagement officer, who reached out to all 47 counties, encouraging youth to become stakeholders, not bystanders.
Youth have started to organize themselves because hapo awali vijana walikuwa wanapangwa, and you'll hear many people come to ask for seats. They will say niko na plan ya vijana, I will youth empowerment, women empowerment. I think those kind of aspirants and candidates, we need to run away from them very fast. When somebody says youth empowerment or women empowerment, that becomes a bit worrying. We have had some of the pillars that we have in the manifesto Yetu involved. Because if you don't do that, the people who will be left implementing the nice policies here would be people who are not in that age bracket.
Lawrence Awino, Kenya Police Service representative, described youths as the backbone of the nation, while Professor Kivutha Kibwana, political scientist, explained the importance of unity and turning engagements into real action.
I'm happy today. When I found this invitation, I said that the reality is now dawning on us as Kenyans, because we have been struggling to understand the issue of leaderless and partyless. Because why I was struggling is because the structure of governance in Kenya is that you have to go through the processes of political parties, and you have to go through a process. So I'm happy that the youths now, at least, you have come together in one forum.
It is good to look at the past,
But it is also good to concentrate in the future, because the future is bright. And that is what has informed the manifesto that you have come up with. I congratulate you for what you have done, and I salute you, the youth, for coming up with this manifesto.
The youth now will say that we must be centrally involved in terms of the political leadership, all those other leaderships, because it is really time that the baton was extended to you. And if we are not going to give it to you, please take it.
Oliver Waindi, Executive Director of Raya Trust, stressed that the youth engagement must lead to tangible change. Reporting for EBN TV Nairobi, I'm Lisa Mutinda.
And that story from Catholic University of East Africa brings JKS Thursdays to a stop. But before we move out, I need to recognize some but a few of our viewers who are watching this bulletin. And we have Lusweti saying that I'm locked. We have Mika following from Buruburu, and David Jue following from Nairobi. Dina following from Eastlands. Good evening at JKS. We've Marcos Martin watching from Sukari. We've also Simon Adek watching, and a lot of people are watching, and thank you for watching EBN TV. Tomorrow is a great day, 12th 2025. We have a great history. It's a great heritage. We've come from very far as a country. We need to look back, we need to reflect, we need to see where we failed as a country, or even we need to check where we started off as a country, how the progress has been, how the development also has been, and how the shape of this country has been made from such a long time since we got independence. We need to check how we've been interacting, how we have been engaging with one another. And tomorrow, as we celebrate Jamhuri Day, it's a very good and a mindful thing, and a thoughtful one to think, ask yourself as you reflect. You started, or even we got independence long time ago. Where are we as a country? Where are we heading as a country? Suppose you migrate naturally or miraculously from this country to a different country. Will you feel free to come back to this country? In short, what will you be celebrating tomorrow? This is JKS Thursdays. My name is Jeff Kimaiyu Somba, and my sign language interpretation helper has been Laura Omondi. From this desk, we wish you a good night.